Okay, hello and welcome to another episode of Speakers Bank podcast, Our Voices, Our Views. My name's Elvira and I'm here today with Sue Silcox. Sue will be sharing her experience of working and training in the aged care sector. Sue, welcome today. Thanks for being
here. Thank you, Elvira.
Thank you.
Good to be here.
Thank you. We're pleased to have you. So Sue, a little bit of background about you. You're a mentor, a trainer and a coach. And you are the founder of Brain Sparks, an organisation whose aim it is to reduce the stigma attached to our older citizens, as well as those who have a neurological condition such as dementia. You're also the author of a book, The ABC of Compassionate Communication. So you're clearly a very busy-driven person. So thanks again for your time today. I'm just going to go back to your role as a coach. So my understanding is that you coach people that work in the residential and community aged care sector around how to work with people with dementia and ageing.
That is part of what I do in the aged care sector. I don't actually do a lot of it. I have a few programs that I share with them, and they are simple programs that they can use and adapt and that make a huge difference, not only to themselves as someone who works with vulnerable people, people with dementia, people who are aging. So it helps them, but amazingly, it also helps the person who's working with them as well. So I was preparing, I've done a lot of training in November, and I was preparing for next week's training and listening to the music and thinking, oh, what are we going to move to this? And I just thought, how privileged am I to be able to get the benefits of what I'm teaching other people? Myself, it's win-win-win, I think. I get the benefits because I'm teaching it. They're getting the benefits because they are learning it, and it's, such a fantastic program or programs, and then they are going to share them with other people who are also going to get the benefits as well. Oh, wow, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah. Now, so from having read a little bit about your bio, is that the Ageless Grace program that you're talking about? Did you want to?
The one that I'm talking about at the moment, yes, is Ageless Grace, okay. And there are a couple of other programs as well, but Ageless Grace is the one that I've been working with, 8 years now in Australia, because I didn't start off in the aged care industry. I started off teaching with 5-year-olds, and I have worked all the way through most of my adult life, most of my career, when I worked for somebody, was as a trainer of adults in business, in sort of whatever was there. And I actually retired and then was driven to these programs that have, that do mean so much to me. And I realized the importance of us using them here for the benefits that we can get out of it. And I suppose that because I was a teacher, that importance of when you understand something, you can walk in somebody else's shoes. When you understand how they are feeling, then you can be empathetic and compassionate towards them as well. And you can make their life much better.
So I guess you don't even have to have necessarily lived that person's experience if you can open yourself to viewing it through another person's, like the true meaning of empathy.
Yes, that's right. Yes, you can.
Yeah.
Because it would be quite a sad world if we had to experience something before we could teach it. Absolutely. There wouldn't be enough of us to be able to do that. And many of us wouldn't have the capabilities if that was our condition under which we lived. Yeah. We then wouldn't have the abilities to be able to go and help other people see and understand what we're doing. So you need people like me and people like all the other people that I train with.
Absolutely. I just wanted to touch a little bit on if we can talk about what your perspective of the definition of the word carer is.
The definition of the word carer, that's a really good question that, you know, we could talk about for ages. For me, a carer is someone who lives, and I don't mean resides with, but someone who comes across any person anywhere. But of course, we can't make it that big, so we restrict it to people who have somebody that they need to look after, somebody to help them get the best out of their life each day.
Yeah.
And in the area that I work, that's people who are professional caregivers. They get paid and they work in aged care or respite or home care, and they've got many roles and many tasks. And then there's the person that I call the accidental caregiver, and it can be a spouse, it could be an adult child, it could be a young child. You know, there are such stories that you hear of young children, particularly now that younger onset dementia is increasing with its numbers. Then a number of younger people are involved in the care of the parent.
Yeah.
So I for many of those people, and I consider myself could be one of those as well. I didn't expect to be a caregiver. I didn't expect perhaps to look after my husband, my spouse, but suddenly you find yourself in that role. And where I come from, that means, where I come from in my spirit, that means I have no idea what to do. I have no idea what that person needs. And it's frightening. Or it can be frightening. It's not always, we can go in blithely and blindly, but very often it can be very frightening that, what do I do now? Or when somebody, perhaps the person you're caring for, is being very aggressive towards you, what do I do now? How do I cope? Why are they doing it to me? Why has this person changed? So, that's the accidental caregiver. Could be called, the unpaid caregiver.
Yeah, definitely.
And we have lots of them.
We certainly do. So touching on that, in your experience, what are some strategies that you think you could offer to people that find themselves in this unpaid caregiver role to best care for and support for the person they're caring for as well as themselves?
Well, I think there are two major things to think about in terms of caregiving. I'm developing the Discovery program, and the Discovery is an acronym. Each letter represents something, and the I in Discovery is the individual that you are caring for, and that individual is still a person. It may not be the person you recognize, but that person that you knew is still there. And the strategies are to look for what that person used to be like, what that person used to like, what that person used to do. If you know that, you can find an awful lot of things that you can very simply do. Just taking down an ornament from a shelf and asking them to talk about it. And you've got to ask, by asking them to talk about it, you have to very often, you've got to initiate the questions, you've got to initiate the conversations. Sometimes you may have to initiate the answers as well. But just knowing something that they can relate to is so important. And then at the end of the word discovery is the letter Y, and Y represents you, the caregiver. And it's not all about you, it's actually about them. But you are very important as well. And your knowledge about that person can help them live a good life for them. And the beautiful thing about that, it's what I live for, I think, is that it's not when you give the person you're caring for their best day, their best life, for whatever it is, what is best for them at that time, you are also giving yourself your best day and your best life. And you are building, what's really important for me, you are building good memories that you are going to be able to have with you when you no longer need to care for them. So I think it's really important that people who aren't caregivers at the moment find out what people want, find out what their expectations are. And that's pretty simple to do. It's only speaking to them and asking them the questions.
Communicating with people.
Yes.
Before things escalate potentially, or absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to touch a little also on, from your observation and experience, what strategies do you think support workers, paid caregivers could also use to best support their clients?
Well, I think it comes down to, again, it's the person-centered care.
Yeah.
The person is is who you have to consider. It isn't. It's not a case of saying, "Oh, she won't know. She won't know." Oh, if you put sugar in a tea, she won't know.
Yeah.
And most caregivers, I think we've got wonderful caregivers in the aged care sector. It doesn't seem like it with what we're hearing, but people are kind. People do think about the person, but there are also several of them who just don't, who think, perhaps they're the old school, that this person doesn't understand, doesn't know, and won't be impacted. So just look at the person and find ways to make each individual feel good at that particular time. Because when you can do that, then you can save yourself time. There is not enough time in residential care or, any of them. We're all short of time. But if you can find something that calms people, that helps them relax, gets rid of their anxiety, then they are going to retain that for quite a long time.
Absolutely.
So you are actually going to give yourself a much longer period without having to answer those continual questions, because the anxiety that is being felt by that person causes the repetitive questions, the behavior, the distress that is there. Calm them, and you can then concentrate on somebody else, helping somebody else. And so in terms of strategies, I suppose those are the some of the tools that I use, like the moving to music, because it is fun, because it is relaxing, because it puts people in the moment, because it uses their memories, then it relieves their anxiety for quite a period of time. And the other one is the compassionate touch, where we know what touch is. We know how touch deprived people are. Mm-hmm. And we also know why very often in institutions we can't touch. We supposedly shouldn't be touching people, but to be touch deprived does all sorts of things to the individual who is not living in what used to be their home, in their remembered home, probably, living somewhere strange with people, and just imagine how people have felt in the past 8 months while they have been on their own without even the loving hand of, their loved ones, the people who visit them. So there are simple ways, just thinking about engaging, connecting.
That connection, yeah, like as you said, just a simple touch of the hand or perhaps a
Yeah,
touch of the shoulder of reassurance. There are
yeah,
appropriate, like gentle ways that can still be employed to ease a
yeah.
person's stress and to foster that human connection.
And it is more, yeah, we can touch a hand, hello, how are you, and move on, or that type of thing, or let me help you up, because there is touch, of course. We help people out of chairs, but that is not the connection. We want touch where you connect, where you are saying, perhaps only for a minute, I'm here with you, I am here for you.
Yeah, I see you, I'm here with you. Yeah, absolutely. So you talked about compassionate touch. Your book is called The ABC of Compassionate Communication. If we could just touch briefly on compassionate communication, what you mean by that.
Well, we communicate far more than just chatting, as everyone knows. We have all those ways of, all our non-verbal responses. And people who, I suppose, live a life that is isolated because of either their neurological condition or even their age, or whatever lack of ability they may have in one area. People are very sensitive to that nonverbal communication. So you could go in and you could say, "Oh, hello, Mrs. Jones," and your face is, just looking like thunder. Well, Mrs. Jones doesn't hear hello. It's the whole body. It's the tension. It's the disconnect between what you're actually saying and what your body is telling about you. So when we communicate with compassion, we bring in that connection. We bring in an awareness. So the 26 steps, it is an ABC of it. So each one of those is around a particular part of the communication process. So, for example, A is for awareness. And so many people don't seem to have the time to be aware. When I go out for a walk in the morning and I might see somebody and they're walking and they're on their phone and their head is down and they're doing whatever they want on there, and it's only a narrow path, and I have to move out of the way because even though I'm fairly close, they have not been aware that there is somebody. And, that's a very simple explanation. But even being aware of what I'm feeling, being aware of what somebody else is giving off is a really important thing. So it's it's called 26 steps. It should actually be 26 simple steps, because they are just very simple ideas that help us understand how much more about what we can do to improve that communication. And it was interesting. I didn't intend to write this book, but I got carried away and I enjoyed writing it once I got into the flow. There are so many more 26 steps that I should put together and develop a series. But yeah,
You could call the next one the extended alphabet from the 26 or something like that. Alphabet
yes.
number 2.
And somebody did ask me to write something for children about compassionate communication. And I think that would be A very nice thing to do, but I need to finish my next book first.
That's a fantastic idea, and that's something that I would love to pass on to my kids. So I'm going to hound you to finish that one, to get onto that one day. Sue, that is unfortunately all we have time for today. You're a wealth of information. It's been really interesting talking with you, and I really appreciate your time today. Thank you.
Thank you, Elvira. I do know how to talk.
Yes, it's been great listening. I know how to talk too, so I've had to train and just listen.
That's good. Well, thank you.
Thank you. Again, so thanks for being with us today. If anyone watching would like to view more of our content, please subscribe to our channel, follow us on Facebook at Speakers Bank, and visit our website at www.speakersbank.org.au. Also, if there's any topic suggestions or you'd like to learn more about Speakers Bank, please contact us on 039 314 0988. And Sue, thank you again so much for today. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Elvira. Yes, it's been a pleasure for me too. Thank you.